How you doing? This is Sean McVeigh with Sean's Outdoor Adventures, and I have a very special treat for you today. I'm meeting up with my friend John Ortlieb from Float Fishing Freaks, and he is going to go over his rig with us today. Now, if you've been following my videos over the past few years, I've done several videos trout fishing using this rig, and I literally just tear it up. I mean, there's people standing around me not catching anything. I'm using this rig, just pulling out fish after fish. And John usually catches more fish than I do. So we're going to spend time with him. He's going to talk through the process of using this rig. This is the type of video you just want to sit back and relax, because we're going to do, it's like you go to a stream with an expert and you just listen to the expert as you're casting and stuff. So that's what we're going to do today. So sit back, relax. John is going to talk us through how to use this rig and give you lots of tips along the way. And by the way, he's going to be, it's late in the trout season type of time of year. So we're going to meet up with him at his club where he's a member. And these fish are just stocked and fished every day, all day long. So they're not easy to catch, actually. There are a lot of big fish there. You're going to see them. But they're not easy to catch because they've been so, gone after. I mean, they've seen everything under the sun. So we're really going through this today with John just to learn from him, hear his feedback on how to use this type of stuff, and he's going to catch some fish along the way. I forgot to mention, I just did a video on John tying on and setting up this rig. So if you haven't seen that already, I'm going to provide a link for that as well. So there's going to be links for how to tie on this rig and take it out of the packaging, things like that. There's going to be links to videos of me using this rig in fishing situations. You're going to see people standing all around me in those videos, and I'm just tearing out fish after fish, and people are just standing there. So you can see in real life how this really works. In this video, though, we're going to meet up with John and just hear the background and the science behind it.
So what we got here is these little 3-inch power worms. We're going to give them a shot. I'm going to go with white first. Have all different colors. They make all different colors. So okay, so what we're going to do, you walk up to the stream, you assess what you have to fish here, and what you want to do is really guesstimate how deep that water is out there. Now I'm going to say that water right there is about 3 feet deep, kind of out there right in the center. So what you want to do is you want to set your float about 3 feet away from your hook. Just to start. It could be a little deeper, it could be a little shallower. And what you're trying to do here is to get everything coming in a straight line down the river. Now what I do want to do is show you something real quick. I'm going to take this stick in my hand. And the key to this rig is a natural drift. So I'm going to take this stick and I'm going to throw it out here. Now that stick floating there is going to go naturally with the current. It's not going to pull in. It's not going to do anything but other than what nature's telling it to do, and that's just float down the river. So what that stick is doing is what you want this float to do. We have our depth, we think, and what we're going to do is we're going to cast. Now what we're going to do is watch that float, and now with the high-vis line, I'm going to keep my line off the water and let that float do exactly. I had a hit. And I missed them. So I don't know if you saw that, but that float went right under. But what you have to do is you have to keep that float flowing naturally. Keep your line in a straight line. That's yeah, if you get a bow in your line, it'll bring the float to do different things. What I'm doing is I'm mending my line to keep the line kind of straight with the float and letting it go in a straight line. If your bobber starts coming, or your float starts coming towards you, you're doing something wrong. Like I said, go back to the stick. Throw that stick in the water and just let it naturally go down. You don't want to reel in, you don't want to nothing. You just want to make sure that that float's going absolutely naturally down through the water column. There's, oh, he come off. All right, that's a pretty nice fish. Let me just check my hook, check my rig. Everything looks all right. Let's try this again. Sometimes I like to keep my rod high. The less line that's on the water, the less things are going to, the current's going to catch it and let it go awry. I don't think I'm set deep enough. I don't know if the camera's showing up a lot of fish here, but the water temp is warm. Let's try casting pretty far up here and bringing it down a little closer. Now when you're casting upstream, you do have to bring in your slack. You do have to reel in case you get a strike. You don't have too much slack out. Once we get back in the might have to try a different color. They don't seem to want the white. Oh, missed another one. They're just mouthing it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try a different color. Like I said, they make these in all different colors. Right now we're going to go with the bubblegum, pink, whatever you like to call it. I'll give one of these a shot. And the way I hook this is just what they call wacky style, like for bass fishing. And again, the long rod helps you mend the line, control your line better to make things flow a little more natural. Tough bite today. Try a little further out. Oh, that was the bottom. See, I don't know if you noticed, you could see that just slowly pull under. Usually when when the fish bite, it just boom, it just pops under real fast. It's kind of embarrassing not catching a fish yet. Try up through here. You just haven't found the right color yet. Ah, I missed them. Tell you, they're not taking it. They're just almost just mouthing on it. A little lethargic, the water being warm, a little late in the season here. That's a good fish there. Yeah, he's screaming. Again, a reel with a good drag. You get into some bigger fish. Nice and smooth. Oof. Beautiful fish. Oh, he's a fighter. We'll get him up on the bank. He's hooked right on the bottom lip. Oh. Ah! Got away on me. All right. Oh, that was a nice one. Well, you could see that float just, just tinkling down. Didn't really pull it under that hard. More or less just kind of bounced it. What I like to do too is, I already changed colors once. It's change colors a lot when I fish. Try different baits. Wax worms, mealworms, butter worms, salmon eggs, different colors. Constantly change. Don't just stick with one bait. Always like to change. Oh. Whoa! Alright. That was a giant. And he broke me off. Alright. He broke just right at the hook. That was a beast. That was a beast of a fish. So we don't lose much time. We got another rod set up. Now, this rod here is actually 7'3", so it's a little shorter, but again, not a big deal. Same rig on it, different color worm. This has got an orange one I just put on it, just to start with. See what this one does. Said you just want that bait to be tickling the bottom of the creek, just bouncing along, just like a worm or any kind of bait would do. Just bouncing along. I don't think I have this one set quite deep enough, so I'm just going to make an adjustment. Just slide the float up, and if you think you're really close, just do really short increments. Just moving up 2 inches. And if you're too deep, your float will get pulled down by the rocks and stuff on the bottom. It'll be really dragging, and you'll see the difference. You'll know when you find the sweet spot just by how that float just kind of glides along. Palominos like the color, but alright, I'm going to change colors. We're going to get rid of this guy. And we're going to try a chartreuse. Now, we are fishing here at a private club I belong to, but me and my friends, Sean included, state stocked fish here in Pennsylvania. This you'll catch if you follow and pay attention to what you're doing and work this rig right. You'll catch 15 fish to your buddy's 1. Not saying the power bait technique doesn't work, because it does, but this is just a much more natural way. So when the fishing gets a little tough, this rig works fantastic. Whew, I wish I would have caught that last one. He was a giant. Try over there again. Oh, there was just mouthed it. You can see on the video there. Hope that was the bottom, I think. Oh, things got a little twisted. Shallow it up a little bit. Just mouthing it. A nice fish. Seems like up at the head of the pool they're a little more active. He's a pretty fish. Oh. Getting me all wet. Feels good. It's hot out. Alright, another release I wasn't expecting. That's alright. We'll get some more. Fix my worm. Always check your weights and everything after every fish. I always like to do that. You know, things can slide around a little bit. The reason why these weights are like they are, stacked like that, is so it comes down in a straight line, a vertical line in the water. So as soon as the fish bites that bait, that float immediately goes under. And you know, some people like, oh, well, he's biting, you wait. No, you don't wait. If that float goes down, that bait is in his mouth. You know, so as soon as that float does anything but float down naturally, you set the hook. Oh, another nice fish. Hey, said a lot of guys that hopefully watch this video is like, that's unrealistic, you know, that's private club. You know, yeah, it is. It's, wow. You know, but these are raised in a hatchery just like every Pennsylvania stock trout is. Trout's a trout. And, yeah, they're just older than the ones they put in. But they still think the same, they still eat the same. Wow. Just getting himself wrapped up. There we go. Pretty fish here. Wow. We'll try to slide him right up. Wow. Come here, Bubba. Right in the upper lip. I'm going to show this one off to Sean. Probably a good 24-inch fish. Look at that there, buddy. Got a little damage on his eye. And he's off. He fought hard, that one there. A little tired himself out. So everything slid around a little bit. And I don't like to clamp these weights on real tight, you know, because I'm afraid whenever you clamp something to fishing line, it actually can weaken your fishing line. So I put them on tight that they don't move around when you're casting and fishing. But when you do get a fish on or something like that, you know, I always just like to check to make sure that they're where they need to be. Just for kicks, we're going to try a salmon egg real quick. Just a regular old salmon egg. Just not scented, not anything, just regular salmon egg. I'm going to give one of these a whirl. Definitely seem to be hanging in this little pocket right out here. If you just watch me, just keep mending my line. But like I said, again, back to throwing the stick in the water. It's you know, when I mend my line, you might see my float just tinkle a little bit, but it's not doing anything to your bait down below. You know, instead of imagining a stick, imagine a leaf falling off a tree and just hitting the water and going naturally. That's what you want. You don't want the, you know, your bait digging into the bottom. You just want that so natural. If that float's doing everything natural, then that bait's doing everything natural down below it. Something about them power worms, man, I really like using them. I use them for, you know, your regular Pennsylvania trout. I use them here at, that was a palomino, just bit that egg. Which usually the palominos that the state puts in, you know, they're kind of suckers for these eggs, just like that one was. But I said, this is a private club, you know, the fish been in here, people fish here every day, a lot of people catch and release, but yeah, the fish been beat up. Yeah, they've been caught, they've been oh no, oh, this is a major timeout. Alright, so the salmon egg seems to be working alright. I'm going to move up a little bit into this hole. Seems like there might be some more active fish towards the head of the hole. Now since I moved up, I moved my float down closer to my hook because it's a little more shallow. So really, once I get down towards the back end of the pool, missed one there. As soon as I get down towards the back end of the pool, you know, it's not my bait's going to be off the bottom, which, you know, hey, real bait doesn't always stay right on the bottom either. It's got to float at some point. Okay, another switch out here. Just got a bad loop in there. So, alright, let's go back to this salmon egg. These seem to be getting some good bites. And these being a little different than the worms, I mean, this thing's got to go in their mouth. You know, them worms, they can kind of bite the, you know, the tail or the head of the worm. And when you only have it hooked in the center, it leaves a little room for them to bite without a hook being there. With the salmon egg, they're getting some hook when they're biting. Now I'm hoping on the video this shows just how natural things are going downstream. You know, when you bottom bounce, you know, and like I said, it's effective, there's no doubt. I just had a hit there, but very soft hit. I missed him. Missed them. Natural salmon eggs. Probably my go-to bait with this rig by far. Early in the season, I really like using wax worms. A nice small bait. Missed him again. Sean's making fun of me. I'm telling you, bud, these fish been caught. They've seen every bait under the sun. They're very cautious when they open their mouths to eat something because they don't want to get stuck with a hook. So they're being very cautious. But with this rig, you can see when they bite. You know, a lot of times with, you know, using power bait or bottom bouncing, you know, if they bite it soft, you don't even know it. You won't even know that they bit. But this, you'll know, because that float's got to move. It's got to go under. As soon as they grab that bait, it's got to move. I'm going to try a little bit of a bomb cast over here, up against the bank. Everything's hiding out over there. Sun's starting to go down a little bit, so it's starting to get a little more shade on the pool. The fish are spreading out a little bit more, which is good. Hopefully they become a little more active, because they're definitely not too active right now. I think we're pushing almost 80 degrees today. The water temperature is definitely rising. It's making the fish a little lethargic with wanting to bite real good. It'll be time to change baits again. Let's go back to a worm. What color didn't I use yet? How about we try a cheese color? Yellow cheese. I said I always like to change things up. Always changing colors. This gives them a different look. Sometimes that's all it takes, is just a different look, a different color. Something's not right. Yep, I knew it. As soon as I saw my float going too fast, we got a little bit of a tangle. Nothing major. Done. But my float was not right. I seen it was going way too fast, and I knew it wasn't right. So reel in and fix it. That's another nice fish. That fish actually ran with the float. The float was going down, and I seen the float coming back towards me. I knew something was wrong there. Had it in his mouth. The float tells you all. Another nice fish.
Get the GoPro release.
Alright, so we moved down to another spot here. Let's take a couple casts through here, see what happens. A little different angle, being on my left side, you can maybe see a little bit more of my body language. And what I'm going to do is, when that float starts to get downstream of you, try to get your line laying. Oh, man, that fish pulled a rod out of my hand. I think he Actually, might be even foul hooked. I think he is. I think he went to swipe at it and he hooked himself in the fin. Looks exactly what he did. Strong fish. And especially when they're foul hooked, you don't have much control. That's what he did. Hooked himself right on the side. Swatting at it. There we go. Everything looks alright. Do it again. As I was getting interrupted with that last fish, I was saying when that float starts to get below you, open your bail up, but keep your hand right on the bail in case you get a strike. You can flip it over and let the line pull off, you know, feed it line, just to keep that float going and where it needs to go. You know, straight down the creek. I mean, you can let it go as far as you want, as long as you can see it. This is why I went with that little bit bigger of a float, because I can see it as it gets further away from me. You know, like the 2.0 float's a good float that's, you know, for smaller creeks. And I just had a hit down there, but he let it go too fast. When it starts to get way down there. But it's just floating like a leaf on top of the water, like we talked about. Like a stick. This type of fishing, you know, it's not like maybe for most people, you gotta like to cast out and put their rod on a Y stick and relax. This is a very active type of fishing. You know, a lot of casting, you know, a lot of movement. But what it is if, you know, you can imagine, you know, a worm falling into the bank of the creek, you know, that worm's just going to keep going. You know, or that bug or that salmon egg or something, that whatever bait you're using, it's just going to keep moving. You know, a bait that's just sitting dormant on the bottom isn't exactly natural to a trout. But it does work. Come here, buddy. But again, I was saying it's a very active type of fishing. You know, constantly moving, adjusting. You know, but like I was saying, you know, when a live bait's in the water and it's in the current in a creek, you know, it's constantly moving. And that's what the fish are just waiting there to ambush as it comes floating by. As it comes floating by in the, you know, the same speed, you know, the natural speed of the current. Like I said, this one camera that we got on, you're watching me feed line as the float goes downstream. I'm feeding line to keep the drift alive. Like I said, when that bobber goes under, you got to be quick to set that hook. To flip that bail over and set that hook, you got to be, you know, be quick on it. You know, again, a long rod, that's where this comes in handy. I mean, there is a point where, you know, too long of a drift is too long. But, you know, we're almost maxed out even with an 8-foot rod that I have back in my hand. Ugh. So that guy stole my worm. Yes, he did. Alright, yeah, let's try an orange. It's the first one I grabbed in my pocket. Yeah, I take my 9-year-old son, you know, out to state stock creeks. You know, we travel upstate PA and fish up there opening day, and you know, we fish local streams around my home. You know, even from the time he was 7 years old, you know, he was catching 30, 40 fish on opening day of trout. You know, it's missed that one. It's just a super effective way. It's starting to catch on. Yeah, I've been fishing around a lot of guys. They try to mimic with different floats, but this nice fish there. A little smaller, but oh.
Well, I want to give a very special thanks to John Ortlieb from Float Fishing Freaks for coming out and doing this video with me. Also, I don't know what happened to the video clip, but in the very end of this video, he mentioned he's starting to make custom rods. Like, he uses an 8-foot rod with this rig, and sometimes those rods are hard to come by. So he's going to be making those custom and making those available on his Float Fishing Freaks website. There's going to be a link for that website in the description section of this video, along with the other videos that I mentioned are linked, as far as using this with a crowd of people around and just seeing how much more effective this rig is than what everyone else is doing. And also on how to tie this rig onto your line and everything. So make sure you check out those links. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Sean with Sean's Outdoor Adventures. Take care and God bless.
No.